Notice of motion 3, local cycling and walking infrastructure plans.
Okay, well, in proposing this notice of motion, I would firstly like to very much congratulate Councillor Mike Rouse on his appointment as Cabinet Member with responsibility for highways and transport. And I was particularly pleased to note his answer to the question put on buses at last Council meeting, that he sees how active travel can play a stronger role in how people complete their journeys based on a common sense and pragmatic approach. What might we be able to do given the obesity crisis, the diabetes type 2 epidemic effectively, and the incidence, of course, of cancer and heart disease? I came across an article in which a miracle pill was referred to, which could seriously reduce incidences of all of these. And as I read on, it turned out the miracle pill was cycling. So what do we want? Well, we'd very much like support with bid writing. We'd like match funding in developing local cycling and walking infrastructure plans. And we'd like to have identified goals for modal shift.
The government wants half of all journeys in urban areas to be by bike or on foot by 2030. It's 8 years away. And we know we're in a climate emergency. We must increase active travel. I think there's a real chance to actually change how we do things. So, for example, does the leadership still believe that there can be no loss of road space to allow for active travel? And the point to make is, just because you're in favour of active travel does not mean you're anti-car in any way. It is not. It's about providing greater choice for people to choose how they get about.
Councillor Rouse, would you like to propose your amendment?
I am a big fan of active travel, of walking, cycling and making sure that people are able to make what I call modal choice, because I think it is about freedom to choose. And I was particularly pleased to hear from Councillor Jenkins that he said it's about greater choice about how they get about. And I couldn't agree more with that. It is about provision of choice. But there is only so much space on the road, and I accept that. And nobody is denying that there are occasions in places, locations, where it is appropriate to reallocate road space in order to make room for everybody so that that choice can be upheld and that freedom can be implemented. So there's certainly no policy in this council whatsoever that is against the reallocation of road space where it makes sense, and there's good reason to do it in support of our mission, our stated aims and our firm commitments to allowing people to make safe, affordable, reasonable choices about how they move so that they are free to modal shift if they wish to do so, because they have got safe, effective, good infrastructure. It's good for their pocket, it's good for their health, and it's good for getting them from A to B. So completely, and let me make it absolutely abundantly clear that as a Cabinet Member, and I'm sure as this Council, we are a proactive travel council. I can't be clearer about that. So I hope the amendment is acceptable to the proposer and seconder, and so move it. Thank you.
I think I wanted to congratulate a few people. My colleague, Councillor Rouse, for this amendment, because I think this does strike the right balance. He's been absolutely clear that this administration is pro-active travel, that we are seeking to support both the government's initiative and the environmental imperatives that are around this, but to do that in a sensible way. And I liked his phrase about modal choice, because I think that is exactly what this administration is in favour of. I certainly think that we need to talk a bit more about supporting walking as a really important part of the mix too, and we mustn't let active travel just be dominated by the cycling lobby. I know they're passionate, and I know they think that this, that it is a cure for all ills. I know that, Beverley, that's been said before. It may cycle infrastructure, but Tom is absolutely right. Councillor was absolutely right when he said that every time we turn around and look at it, and people talk about this LTN 120 note, right? Literally, that has quadrupled, if not more, the cost of developing cycleways. And so the amount you're going to get for the same money is much, much smaller. And don't be, it's the sort of pursuit of the perfect is killing the good. We can get much further. We can have perfectly great bridges, roads and cycleways that, you know, at the moment there are bridges in the city which are not LTM 120 compliant, where there are absolutely no problems with walkers and cyclists coexisting on them and getting by. But if we continually say it has to be 4 metres wide, and you will get very, very little for your money. You will spend tens, if not hundreds of millions, and you certainly won't get to Malvern, or you certainly won't get to Pershore or any of the other places we aspire to have proper road infrastructure to. So just be careful you don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. And personally, I do want I think we should be focusing more on sharing road space. There are many different types of users, particularly in our rural areas, whether they be tractors, whether they be horses, whether they be cyclists, whether they be walkers. And frankly, we've got to learn to share with respect and respect all users of that space. And I would like us to spend more money focusing on education campaigns, and working with the police and others around enforcement to make sure that those things work, because I think that's the way in which we do make real progress. So I hope that we will all get behind this motion today and make the progress that we all want to see.
Thank you. Councillor Nielsen, as mover of the original motion, would you like to sum up, please?
Well, thank you very much indeed for that lively debate, discussion and contributions. I'm tremendously impressed that we have so many enthusiastic cyclists in this room today, and I would like to propose, and I have to say I'm indebted for this suggestion to my colleague Councillor Wells, that we form a councillors' cycling club to lobby to promote our case to Mike to deliver our miracle solution. Most of all, I suppose I'd like to say it's fantastic to hear that Councillor Rouse is a big fan of active travel, and that he has agreed with the notice of motion. And I think that if we can form this fantastic councillor cycling lobby group and keep the pressure up on Councillor Rouse, then perhaps we can see a lot more money coming, especially...
We now vote on the motion. Those in favour, please show. Unanimous yet again.